Welcome to Transform, Project 44's thought leadership forum, established to bring together market experts and uncover innovative insights about the future of our supply chains. Today we have with us Tony Heldreth, Field Operations Executive at TPG Global. Tony has decades of experience in supply chain for large enterprise. Most recently, our work together was in your role as a supply chain executive at Owens Corning. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you
for being here.
Nice to be here.
So we're going to talk today about visibility. As a supply chain executive, what importance do you put on visibility? How is it relevant to supply chain?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's really evolved in the last 2 to 4 years for us around being able to know where your products are, both from an inbound perspective to help understand your manufacturing operations and your inventory management, but more importantly with our customers to be able to give them the insight on where their goods are from us throughout the journey of our fulfillment process.
Yeah. And over the last few years, I think we've seen visibility accelerate and change fairly rapidly. What do you think the big changes are?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed a lot. I got to Owens Corning in 2015, and we weren't talking about visibility for our customers. We started in 2018 on that journey with you guys around how could we start the basics of bringing visualization for our shipments to our customers. You know, I think the biggest thing is, as, the internet age has continued, everyone buys something from Amazon's or eBay's or online, and you always know where your products are. That's moved from the consumer to the business side. And now, sophisticated shippers and customers want to know where their products are.
Same expectation.
Exactly.
And that's the driving force in your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
The customers are demanding, got to have it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting. We had a population of customers that wanted to know where their goods were within a half-hour window. And obviously, that required us to have a lot of manual intervention, outsourcing calls to carriers, doing it internally, having, transportation specialists call carriers, where are you? When are you going to be there?
Yeah.
This work together with P44 has eliminated a lot of that.
Right. And that's really the next step here. How has the technology changed the way visibility is done for you, for Owens Corning and otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I think for anyone that's using it, it's gone from either you had no insight to where your products were, or you were doing it incredibly manually,
right,
which is inefficient and expensive, to now, you turn on a carrier network with yourselves, and we're able to understand where, hundreds and thousands of shipments every day stand in our network.
Right. And that's saved a lot. I would think that's had a major impact in the way the business operates and the value to you.
Yeah, it's had a big impact. One, I think it makes us a little more sticky with our customers because, at least as of a few months ago, we believe we're the only large building material customer in that space, providing that capability, which I think differentiated Owens Corning in the market. Right. But certainly the numerous manual touches that we were doing, whether it was through a third party or ourselves, that's been able to be eliminated.
Yeah.
And I would suspect for anyone, in an industry where knowing where your products are is important, this type of capability and technology is going to be table stakes going forward.
Yeah, makes sense. And I know in your process of figuring out how you were going to do visibility, what technology you were going to use, you took a look at the field. What was your experience on why Project 44? What the differentiator, the drivers for you on that?
Yeah, we did look in the field, as you would expect. The why for us was really, I'd say, sort of threefold. First was this constant quest for bringing data to life and really trying to automate the data streams that we felt with Project 44. I'd say second, through the through the evaluation process, the visualization itself that we saw in demos and, sort of pre-sales work that we were doing together, we were excited about. It resonated. It resonated not only with supply chain folks, it resonated with our commercial team. Right. And then lastly, I'd say the economics, as we were evaluating, cost structure, our investment up front to get this, for us, very novel approach. Right. Working with P44, you guys made it very easy for us to be willing to take a chance in something that we hadn't been doing in the past.
Yeah. We think of this as a very data-driven solution. Your experience with data quality with Project 44, how has that been?
Yeah, with Project 44, the data quality has been great. Okay. I mean, where we struggled as a company, and I suspect many shippers struggle, is in their own data. And the sort of baseline information that we have historically expected from our carrier bases needs to change to be effective. And that's, really the work that partnering with P44, our own internal technology teams, our own internal logistics folks, how do we get over those hurdles of our internal data to feed? Once we were able to solve that on our end as the shipper, right, the back and forth with information has been very effective.
Yeah. And so the third party, of course, is your carrier network, your logistics providers, your carriers. They're obviously key to making this whole thing work. How has it been working with them in this process?
By and large, it's been pretty easy and straightforward. Mm-hmm. We got to a place where we had about 80% of our shipments available for us to track in a pretty quick period of time, from 0 to 80%. Right. We had a few outlier carriers, whether it was asset or brokerage based, that took a little bit more convincing. We ultimately got there, but I'd say by and large we got the 80-20 rule part of it faster than I would have expected. Right. And then I think when we identified where we were having issues, we were able to overcome that in partnership with our carriers and Project 44.
And what was the experience? How did that work out with Project 44?
Yeah, it worked great. I mean, I would say by and large, you guys took the ball from the beginning and helped us sort of template what is going to be said to your carriers, what are the expectations going to be of the carriers, and drove most of that work. Yeah. It was sort of invisible to us, short of, a few carriers would call and say, hey, are you really doing this with Project 44? What is it you're trying to accomplish? But aside from that, I mean, you guys carried most of the water and drove the majority of that for us until we got to the sort of last 8-10% of our carrier base where we had to come in and help push that over the hurdle. But it was a good partnership.
Yeah. And now we're about a year and a half into it or so, over a year into it. What have you seen in terms of benefits in that time and what you see coming longer term from this solution? What's your view on that?
Yeah. So I think for Owens Corning, I mean, the benefits were being able to tell a large number of our customers where their products were. We took control of what was going to be the base information that we used to share with them, as opposed to being at the mercy of either a third party or our carrier base. So I think that's probably the biggest piece. Right. As of August, we were still trying to figure out, okay, how exactly do we want to make this visible? We started internally making it visible for our customer service reps and our transportation service reps so that they were armed with the tracking information that we have. The plan is to deploy that out to our sales folks as they're interested and as they need to be. And ultimately then through the carrier portal that Owens Corning uses, make that available to all of our customers.
And so this is an integral part of your relationship with your customers
and our carriers. Yeah, I mean it's we do an annual logistics bid, and in that we made it clear that being able to provide this data into what we're doing with Project 44 was a ticket to entrance into being one of our carriers.
Yeah, and I think a key to making the whole thing work.
Yeah, definitely.
And your experience in working with us, how's it been?
Yeah, it's been good. I think, from the pre-sale work, the contracting, the negotiating together, I think it was done in the right spirit of, we want to make sure both parties can be successful, which I think we did. I think after that, the forming of the teams, the P44 team, the Owens Corning team, I think went really well. These are big. This is a big transformation for Owens Corning. I suspect this is a big transformation for a number of your customers. There are always going to be hurdles. Yeah. The can-do attitude of the P44 project team was great. We had a couple of in-person meetings, got into a sort of a quarterly review once we got through some of the data work that just happens up front. And, I feel like the folks feel like they're part of one team bringing shipment visibility to life at Owens Corning. And it's been good.
Yeah,
really good to work with.
That's excellent to hear. Yeah. It's great to hear that. Now, where we go from here, right? How do you feel the technology evolves? What does the market need? What do you want to see out of visibility going forward?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One, I think, is how you can stitch together a longer supply chain. So most companies get goods outside of North America. So maybe they have raw materials coming in from Europe or for Asia Pacific. So how do you track that on the ocean to a depot or your facility and know that, my container of raw materials has landed in the port. It's now being drayed over to our facility, and I would expect it to be available for me to convert in the next, 1 day to 1 hour. So I think stitching different modes together is going to be important. I think it can help in a couple of dimensions, around inventory management. That's obviously cash is king. And so how companies can be more efficient with managing their inventory, whether it's raw materials or work in process or finished goods, I think is going to be really important.
So there's an inventory play. There's a larger sort of demand sensing and that opportunity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then, the other piece I think is around, and this is a question whether or not this is where Project 44 wants to go, around sort of contracting the whole invoicing process. So, we now know that we picked it up, company A picked it up at our site and have moved it to our customer. How can we take that data to help us around invoice accuracy, invoice visibility and capability, knowing what outstanding invoices are out there in a more real-time manner like we do with visibility, I think could be a big deal. I think that'll be a bigger deal for larger companies.
A lot of room for improvement.
Than probably smaller companies. But I know it's been a pressure point for me as a supply chain executive for a number of years in a bunch of different industries. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in that space.
Excellent. Tony Heldreth, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.